At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Happy Tuesday, April 29th to you all. We are starting off with those clear skies for many of us. There is going to be a chance for some showers for some of us here this afternoon, especially for really focusing on the areas north and east of the valley. However, that being said, I think parts of the valley could see a chance for a stray sprinkle or even a light shower later this afternoon and evening. And even parts of northern Trinity County, mainly north of Highway 299. Scattered areas around Siskiyou County, but it's mainly Modoc County and Lassen County. I think we see some measurable rainfall throughout the day today, but kind of hard to really see that happening right now because we've got mainly clear skies out there this morning for many of you. In fact, we'll take you to our Krueger's Quickcast here this morning as we are going to be looking at your Tuesday, April 29th. Good morning to you all. Take a look at that out the door this morning as you're heading out. You'll be looking at those temperatures probably somewhere in the upper 50s for the valley. It looks like in the 40s for most of the higher elevations in the coast. Well, we are seeing some fog for places like Humboldt County, but doesn't look to be quite as bad up to the north into parts of Delnor County. Now, looking at the temperatures out there this morning, a little on the chilly side, especially out to the north and east, as we typically see. You think about this, and this is the reason why. If you look to the north and east, this is where we have some of the coldest temperatures. And the reason for that, this is where we have some of the highest elevations in Northern California. So the higher you go in elevation, the cooler the temperatures tend to be. So Alturas, at about 4,000 feet or so, you're at 33 degrees. Chester, actually, at 4,500 feet, about 34. Right, and Bernie at about 3,500 feet, 33 degrees, 3,500 feet also, 3,000 feet at Bernie, 3,500 feet at Mount Shasta City at about 40. Now you head out to the coast, temperatures upper 40s there, and as mentioned in the valley, we're mainly in the low 50s. So you see the rain over the Pacific Northwest and making its way into Oregon as well. Those clouds are moving to the south and east as you can clearly see, but we still have high pressure in place. This is what's known as a dirty ridge of high pressure, and the reason for that name is because ridge of high pressure is typically associated with sunny skies. So when these clouds kind of filter through these ridges of high pressure, we tend to call them a dirty ridge because it's still allowing some of those clouds to move in. But overall, that rain will push to the south and east, and that's why I do expect to see a chance for some showers for parts of Northern California. And let's take a look at that. So there are those clouds up to our north pushing to the south and east. By midday, we're beginning to see some showers developing northern Trinity, parts of eastern Siskiyou County, and it looks like out towards northwestern Modoc County as well. At this point, it's very light. It's mainly in the form of sprinkles, a lot of it not even reaching the ground. It's dry for everyone else. But what you'll notice for the valley and really elsewhere is a lot of the thin, high, and even some mid-level clouds filtering in later this morning and into the afternoon hours. So as we go into the afternoon, here's 3 o'clock. You see how most of the rain is in Modoc County and Lassen County. But if you look at Siskiyou County, scattered, isolated showers here and there. North of Highway 299 in Trinity County, scattered showers. And we're beginning to see some showers developing near, but not quite in the valley just yet. But by the late afternoon, we may see a stray shower develop for parts of the valley. Redding, Red Bluff, Corning, pretty much everywhere in the valley has the chance. Now, is this going to be a lot of rainfall? No, I don't anticipate any thunderstorms. I don't expect any heavy downpours, but you could see a stray sprinkle and at the very best, maybe a light shower, right? But then again, notice up to the north and east, Modoc County, Lassen County. But at this point, by 6 p.m. today, most of the rain is on the east side of those areas. So that's going to be kind of moving on out. Now, tonight, 10 o'clock, still some leftover instability. Could see a few showers out towards eastern Shasta and even into Lassen counties. But then after that, it will dry out by tomorrow morning. So for today, you've got those temperatures in the mid-80s for most of us in the valley, a little bit cooler to the south in the low 80s. Now, where you see the cloud cover is where we have the best chance for rain. That's mainly east and northeast of the valley. Meanwhile, partly to mostly cloudy skies for Siskiyou County, this isolated shower. And dry conditions across the board for Delnor and Humboldt counties today, including the inland areas. So for tonight, we do have temperatures in the upper 50s for most of us in the valley. Temperatures mainly around 40 degrees, give or take, for the higher elevations. And you can see out to the inland areas, upper 40s tonight, and somewhere in the mid to upper 40s for the coast. So as we look at our forecast for the next 7 days in the valley, there's that chance in there for Tuesday, today, right? That's for Redding, Red Bluff, Chico. Now notice I've got PM in there for Chico tomorrow. We'll take a closer look at that in the deeper dive forecast here in a bit, but mainly dry for Wednesday, Thursday, and warming up. Thursday is the peak of the warming trend, folks, and this is the 90-degree reading I was talking about for some of us in the valley for Thursday. But that's not going to last for long. We've got temperatures dropping again. You think about what we saw last weekend. Remember how we saw a significant drop in our temperatures? We're going to see that again. We're talking mid-60s for those daytime highs on Saturday. And then Sunday, we're drying out again. Warming back up, low 80s by early next week. So this roller coaster ride continues with those temperatures. For the coast, inland, you're dry all the way through Thursday. Now by Friday, we can see a chance for showers, but the main event, most of the rain will be here on Saturday for everyone. That's so on the either side of that, especially the mountains, we'll see a chance for showers. So that would be Friday and then again on Sunday. But you'll notice the coast, inland, I've got you dry. This is also the case for Trinity County. It's mainly today, north of Highway 299 for Trinity County. Friday, a slight chance, and then a better chance for that rain on Saturday. Now, for Siskiyou, Modoc County, the Eastern Mountains. Today, isolated showers for Siskiyou County, but a lot of you will be dry today in Siskiyou County. Modoc County, you've got showers through the day today with mostly cloudy skies. Same situation for the Eastern Mountains, especially for Lassen County and Eastern Shasta and even Tehama, Eastern Tehama County. Then we're dry for your Wednesday for especially Siskiyou and Modoc counties, but for Lassen County, it's really more like Plumas County. I think you'll see a chance for showers late in the day on Wednesday. Dry for Thursday, the peak of the warming trend, and then we cool things off again. Big drop in our temperatures by Saturday. And then especially out towards, say, Modoc and Eastern Mountains, you've got a chance of showers on either side of Saturday. Then by Monday, we dry things out and warm back up again. That's a look at your quick cast. Let's take a look at our Lake Oroville live stream camera here, and you can see we've got those clear skies out there this morning, making for a beautiful, beautiful start to the day. You've got calm winds out there. The lake reflecting everything beautifully like a mirror. There's a looking at the Highway 32, Main Street, Chico. It doesn't look like we have much traffic out there this morning, and most likely, of course, there's your typical traffic on Highway 99 at Neal Road, but you got plenty of sunshine here making its way into the forecast out there this morning. This is Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive exit in Redding. Of course, this camera is not in motion and is never in motion that we have access to, but it certainly is updated every few minutes to give us an idea of what's going on out there. And taking a look at Crescent City Harbor District, turning out to be another gorgeous start to the day. Looks like we've got fairly calm winds out there this morning. There are some mid and high level clouds, but those will be on the increase here throughout the day today, but I do expect dry conditions for you throughout the day today. Do want to remind you that I've got 3 radio partners that I do weather updates with every morning, weekday morning, on K Shasta at 7:30 in the morning with Don and Heather in the mornings, then with Logan Kane in the AM on 106X at 7:50 in the morning. And if you're out and about listening to Stephen Clark on News Talk, KQMS, just shortly after 8 o'clock, I do a weather update with them as well. So if you can't watch Coffee with Krueger or any of my morning updates, you're just kind of in a hurry, you got to get outside, get out, maybe you're late, running late, you can always turn on your radio and you can hear me on Weather NorCal with those latest updates here with our radio partners. Good morning to you all, and we do have a couple of people checking in this morning here, and kind of a quiet morning. Typically don't have a ton of people interacting, but people like to interact every once in a while. Jay saying good morning. Looks like it's going to be a great day. I agree here. And we've got Lisa Stevens saying good morning to everybody and saying have a great day, and I hope you all have a great day too as well. So as mentioned, we are going to be looking at the potential for some showers in the forecast here. And so this is kind of one of those opportunities where, it's just kind of those spring showers bring May flowers, right? Or April showers bring May flowers. That's kind of the saying here. But here's the thing. I mean, if you have had any opportunities over the last several weeks to go for these walks, kind of in nature around here, it's beautiful. I mean, we've got all kinds of great wildflowers out there. I was actually for a walk with my wife yesterday, and boy, she just couldn't stop taking pictures and, of course, enjoying picking some of those flowers and just got kind of putting them around the house. Nice little smell. So very nice. Very nice. Just a wonderful time of the year. This is the time of the year I think a lot of people like, and especially when we can have a true spring, right? Where it's not too hot, it's not too cool, it's nice and mild out there. We're seeing some showers every once in a while to kind of help keep those lakes full and keep our water content looking pretty good. So yeah, I mean, this is that time of the year. But again, it's one of those things you do have to be prepared for the potential for showers. And I know a lot of people like to plan outdoor weddings this time of the year. And it's always scary. If you have an outdoor wedding this weekend, on Saturday in particular, do know that there's a very good chance you may be dealing with some wet weather. So just kind of something to think about here if you've got outdoor plans on Saturday. So what do you say we get to that and get to our forecast here, our deeper dive? Now, we do need to mention our sponsor because it's very important for you to understand that Weather NorCal, Coffee with Krueger, all of this would not exist without our sponsor. So I want to thank Wind River for their support. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions out there right now. We're sitting at about 50 degrees out in Redding, 53 degrees for Red Bluff, 46 degrees in Corning, 53 degrees in Chico. And we got 33. So yes, some of your typical cooler spots here. These blues here indicating those colder spots in the higher elevations. Mid to upper 30s in Trinity County, low 40s out towards the inland areas, and looks like somewhere in the upper 40s along the coast. All right, so here is a look at your weather headlines. We've got isolated showers and warm conditions today. Now, most of the showers, as I mentioned earlier, are going to be in Modoc County and Lassen County, but there are other areas, including the valley, that could see a stray sprinkle or light shower later this afternoon. We do have a warming trend, though. Despite the chance for rain today, we do have a warming trend, which will peak on Thursday before we see another big drop in our temperatures. And I want you to think about what we saw last weekend. That's essentially what we're going to see here as we go into this weekend, although I think the chances for rain are going to be better in the valley, but of course we'll get a better handle on that as we get closer to the weekend. Now, Sunday, maybe some lingering showers, especially for the first half of the day off to the east. Otherwise, we're dry and then dry and warmer going into next week. Another increase in those temperatures after that big drop over the weekend. This is the disturbance that's riding over the Pacific Northwest. It is producing rain there in Washington and Oregon, and will eventually produce some rain for some of us here in Northern California. But I think the main impact that a lot of us will feel is we'll start to see a lot of those mid and high level clouds begin to move in here throughout the morning and even through the afternoon. So 8 o'clock this morning, there's kind of the leading edge of that band of cloud cover moving in. By midday, we start to see some light showers in parts of Siskiyou, Modoc County, and even northern Trinity County as well. Otherwise, we're just starting to see the leading edge of those high and mid-level clouds begin to move in by the afternoon around 3 o'clock. You see how the main focus here is off towards Modoc and Lassen counties, which, by the way, this is not heavy rainfall, so it's not going to produce a ton of rainfall. Scattered, just isolated showers here and there for parts of Siskiyou County, but I think a lot of you in Siskiyou County will be dry today. Same situation for you in Trinity County, mainly south of Highway 299. I think you'll be completely dry, just some scattered showers here north of 299. And for the valley, we may see a few stray showers developing by late afternoon. You can see how insignificant it is. I think it's overdoing it here. Bottom line for the valley, if you see a stray sprinkle or light shower, don't be surprised. But overall, it's not going to be very wet in the valley here later today. By 6 p.m., most of that rain has pushed off into the eastern portions of Modoc and Lassen counties. And in the meantime, you're dry all day long for Modoc and for Humboldt and Del Norte counties. 10 p.m. tonight, still some leftover instability off to the east, but overall, we're drying things out as we go into tonight and tomorrow morning. By 8 a.m., just some leftover clouds, even for parts of the valley, but dry still at this point. Now, what's interesting is we got to watch here closely. Here's tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Mainly dry, as you can see. We're seeing some activity down to the south and these clouds developing here. So what could potentially happen tomorrow afternoon is we see the potential for these showers and thunderstorms, especially in Plumas County, but also working its way into eastern Tehama and eastern Butte County as well. Now that's in the foothills and some of the mountains. That's up at the higher elevations where we have better chances for those showers and possible thunderstorms developing. Now, a lot of times what happens is you see these showers develop in the mountains, and as they work their way closer to the valley, getting into the foothills and eventually the lower elevations, they tend to break apart. And the reason for that, remember, one of the big ingredients for showers to develop is you need rising air. So as they move down the mountains, they tend to collapse on themselves. We see these showers because you get that sinking air as it moves down the mountains, foothills into the valley. So a lot of times they break apart. So I would say that places like Magalia, Paradise, all could see a chance for some showers here by Wednesday afternoon, but by the time they make their way into the valley, they'll pretty much have died out. However, if there's a stray sprinkle or light shower for places like Chico, Oroville, even into Wednesday evening, places like Corning, some of that could make its way into some of those valley locations. Say along Highway 99, for example, Los Molinos, right? You could see a chance for some of those showers as well. That's 10 p.m. on Wednesday. We're starting to dry things out. Then as we go into Thursday morning, we're dry again. Still seeing some of that fog along the coast, but plenty of sunshine here. And then Thursday afternoon, it looks like we're looking at dry conditions. Just a few afternoon clouds developing for some of the higher elevations. This is also Thursday, the peak of the warming trend, especially for the valley around 90. So how much rain can we expect? Well, this is where most of it's going to be here for today. It's off to the east here for Modoc, Lassen, and Plumas counties. You see, it's not really picking up anything in the valley, but again, keep in mind, we could see a stray sprinkle or a light shower, but most likely nothing measurable in the valley over the next 24 to 48 hours. And then as we take a look at our mid-range forecast model, oops, got a little button happy there. Let's, got happy again. There we go. Let's take a look at our mid-range forecast model. All right, so we're going to advance it through time here. As we go into your Thursday afternoon, you see how it's dry? We saw that. Then as we go into Thursday night, we're dry. Friday morning, we're dry. You see how the clouds are coming in from the south, though. So that's Friday morning at 8 a.m. Now, what I think is going to happen is you can see the main storm system is still off to our west, but in advance of it, I think we're going to see some instability, and that could create some showers. Now, at this point, you can see this model wants to bring in some showers here for parts of the valley. That's not entirely out of the question, but I think most of any activity that we do end up seeing here will be in the mountains and even for parts of the coast here for Friday afternoon. I may introduce a chance for showers in the next, maybe later today or tomorrow in the valley, but for now I'm going to keep it mainly in the higher elevations for Friday, and then that's what's going to be coming in on Saturday. In fact, you can see that's the line right there. That's the prefrontal showers. By the way, trough of low pressure, much colder air. So this is all progressing eastward. By Saturday, midday, we're seeing the widespread rain across the area. Again, nothing terribly heavy. We're not seeing a ton of rainfall out of this. We're also not seeing a ton of snow. You think about what we saw last weekend, we didn't really see any chain requirements over the higher mountain passes, and now I would anticipate that'll be the case with this storm system as well. I mean, we could see snow as low as 5,000 feet, but it's mainly above 6,000 feet. You'll start feeling those impacts. So yes, places around Tahoe southward could be looking at the potential for more chain requirements like we saw last weekend. But again, you can see the widespread showers elsewhere. Now, this is that colder pocket of air that's diving down to the south by Sunday. So Sunday morning, there may be some lingering showers because what's happening is the rotation around that low may bring some showers here. Even though it's not really showing it, I do think there's that potential for some of those showers to kind of work their way into parts of Modoc and Lassen and even Plumas counties for Sunday morning in particular. Then by the afternoon Sunday, those chances diminish. Everyone else dry on Sunday. Still cool, but it's not until we go into Monday, Tuesday that cooler air really shifts off to the east and we're seeing the warmer ridge of high pressure begin to move in. But notice as we do go into Monday, Tuesday, it's not a very strong ridge of high pressure. All right, so we look at the rainfall outlook here through Saturday. Again, I'm not putting any numbers here. I just want to show you where most of the rain is expected to be, and that would be north and east of the valley into some of the foothills. But the darker shade of green is about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall. So in the valley, could we see 1/10 to maybe 1/4 of an inch? Sure, not out of the question. I'd say even the same here for parts of the North Coast and even into Trinity County as well. So overall, when we look at what we're going to expect to see here today and really through Saturday, the amount of rainfall we're going to see doesn't look to be all that terribly impressive. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at high pressure building in by Thursday. That's the peak of this warming trend. Then we go into your Friday. That cooler air begins to move in. Temperatures dropping significantly from 90 on Thursday in the valley to mid-60s by Saturday. Quite a drop. Now that cooler air will shift to the south. Temperatures will moderate slightly, but still cool temperatures for your Sunday before that finally kicks off to the east. High pressure builds in for early next week. But again, notice the ridge of high pressure. It's not very strong. It's strong enough to give us our temperatures back in the low 80s in the valley, but that's really going to be the extent of it. There you can see the peak on Thursday. There's that dip on Saturday, back up in the low 80s by early next week. Now looking at your lake levels, they're still very healthy, right? No big surprises here. Over 90% capacity where we are right now for most of the lakes. In fact, look at that, 97% capacity out at Lake Shasta. Drought monitor is showing that we're still looking at good conditions here for Northern California. No drought conditions. It's Southern California, where we are anywhere from dry to even the extreme category there, some of the reds. It's the desert Southwest and even into southwestern Texas where you're getting into the highest category there. Here's the bottom line, and this is something that I do want to remind you. Yeah, there are no red flag warnings to speak of over the nation. That's good, but I do also want to remind you we are getting very close to that fire season, and we need to make sure that we start preparing now to make sure that we are all good and safe. So if you have property, make sure you've got the defensible space, you're clearing off any brush, and if you can't do it yourself and you can't get a neighbor to do it for you, then you've got to maybe hire someone to help take care of that issue, because it's not just your safety and your family's safety. And I say this every time, it's your neighbor's safety as well. So there's a look at the wave heights. They're actually going to be fairly high here for today. And this is a trend that will probably continue into tomorrow. So looking at our marine forecast here for today, we're going to be looking at a small craft advisory. The National Weather Service has issued a small craft advisory here for this afternoon, and it'll continue through Wednesday afternoon as well. North winds, 15 to 20 knots. I mean, that's certainly some strong winds there. Your waves from the north at 7 feet at 7 seconds, and from the northwest at 3 feet. Northwest at 3 feet, 13 seconds. That's a lot of THs in there. Got a little fat tongue there. All right, let's take a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast here for your Tuesday. We've got temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 70s for those daytime highs. Now, as I mentioned, it's north of Highway 299 that I think we can see a chance for some showers here later this afternoon. Don't count on much, if anything, quite honestly. Into the south of Highway 299, I do expect mainly dry conditions here, but, you know, maybe a stray shower. Dry for Wednesday, Thursday. The peak of the warming trend is on Thursday, and then more showers coming in by the end of the week, and especially by Saturday. The North Coast, though, you're dry across the board here for both Del Norte and Humboldt counties. Low 70s for Miranda all the way down to Garberville. Looks like Ferndale about 59, 62 degrees for Hydesville, 60 in Rio Del, and there you can see Fortuna about 61. 61 degrees for McKinleyville, 77 for Willow Creek, and looks like Hoopa about 75, 67 degrees for Gasquet, 75 degrees for Orleans. Showers as early as Friday, but the main event will be on Saturday, drying out on Sunday. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Pretty much across the board, we've got isolated showers. Many of you will be dry today, including Scott Valley, but you could see a stray shower this afternoon with temperatures in the upper 60s there. Better chances for rain, especially by Saturday. Here's your central and eastern Siskiyou County. Doris about 63, 64 degrees for McDowell. And as I mentioned, across the board, those stray showers. Take a look at Modoc County. Everyone does have a chance for some rain here for today, and even some measurable rainfall, but it dries out for tomorrow and Thursday. Chance for showers as early as Friday, but the main event coming in on Saturday with a few lingering showers Sunday morning. Eastern Mountains, we're looking at maybe a chance for some showers around Bernie. You're going to be dry, though, for Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday. It's not until Saturday that you'll really see that next chance for rain in Bernie. We take you out to Lake Elminor, Lassen Park. Temperatures there on the cool side, mostly cloudy skies. A chance for off and on showers today. Tomorrow as well, especially, I'd say this, let's say more like Plumas County, where I think we're going to see the bulk of any showers here for your Wednesday. Otherwise, Paradise, you can see a chance later this afternoon and evening, and tomorrow evening as well. Kind of around that where those, well, I was talking about those foothills kind of coming off the mountains there. That's the case for Paradise. Thursday, Friday, you're dry. More showers on Saturday. Susanville, a chance for showers today. Maybe some of those showers even developing as far north as Susanville tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Otherwise, dry Wednesday, Thursday. Chance for showers on Friday, and then bigger chances for showers on Saturday. For your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south, temperatures in the low 80s. We are looking at maybe even Orville, seeing a slight chance for a stray sprinkle or light shower tomorrow evening. That's also the case for Chico. The peak of the warming trends on Thursday for Chico, the high of 88. 81 though by Friday, down into the upper 60s by Saturday with more showers. Let's take you up to the north. 80 degrees for Whiskeytown as well as Lakehead. 84 for the city of Shasta Lake. And looks like Redding, a high of about 85 degrees. Speaking of Redding, there's your 7-day forecast. The peak of the warming trend is on Thursday with a high of 90 degrees. And then we're looking at temperatures dropping about 10 degrees there. And then another 15 degrees or so as we go into Saturday. So we're going from 90 on Thursday to 66 degrees on Saturday. And then, of course, the rain. Then by Sunday, temperatures in the low to mid 70s on Sunday. Monday, temperatures in the low 80s for those daytime highs. So it does look like we have that roller coaster ride with those temperatures. No big surprises there. Just kind of your typical spring pattern that has moved on in here. So we don't have temperatures getting too terribly warm, although 90, that's getting pretty warm, but it's not going to last for very long. See, the thing is, we're not seeing these long stretches of 90 plus degree temperatures. It's kind of just leading up to that. Temperatures kind of stay there for one day. Then we see a really good drop, healthy drop in those temperatures by the time we get into the weekend. But with that big drop in the temperatures, it will be wet. So for those of you that do have outdoor plans over the weekend, do note that most likely you'll need something to keep you dry, or you may need to plan something that will bring you indoors. But that's going to do it for our forecast here for today. Let's kind of check in with a couple of you. We got a couple of good mornings. We'll give you some of that love. They're out towards Tracy Sackett saying good morning. And she's got the cup of coffee there. I've got my cup of coffee. Hope you do too as well. Jeff Johnson saying good morning, Mike. It looks like time to get out the sunscreen. It's not just time now. It was time over the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. In fact, I wore that sunscreen at the Red Bluff Roundup and made sure my son did too, because, yeah, it was just kind of beating down on us. We weren't on the grandstand, so we didn't get that beautiful shade coming out of there. And we got Curtis Brown saying, good morning, Mike and everyone. Beautiful, beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful day. And that's the case again here for today as well. So we certainly couldn't ask for better weather for this time of the year. Yes, it's going to get a little warm over the next couple of days, especially by the time we do get into Thursday. But overall, looks like we've got some pretty nice weather. Well, what do you say we get to wrapping up the show here? We'll take a look at some of the cameras. This is looking out at Lake Oroville. We'll leave you some more cameras here for this morning. Until then, have yourselves a great morning, and we'll see you tomorrow morning right here on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have yourselves a great day.